Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
Livestock farmers take special care to keep their animals healthy. That helps create a safe food supply for everyone. It's grilling season and we have a beef brisket recipe from the heart of the home. And we go to Southwest Virginia to learn why Virginians seek local roots.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at a dairy farm in Central Virginia. And recently in the news, antibiotic use by farmers has gotten a lot of attention. But as Dave Miller reports, there's a good reason livestock producers use these drugs to keep your food supply safe.
Jeremy Moyer is fifth generation of the Moyers to take care of livestock on Okmulgee Farm, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The farm has been in the family since 1895, and each generation has worked to assure the food they produce is safe for consumers.
This is not a job, it's just what I do. And it's nice to plant corn and see it grow. It's nice to help a cow have a calf. You see that calf grow up from a 100-pound calf to a 1,500-pound cow. And you keep her healthy the whole way, you feed her the whole way, and then she's a cow she's having a calf.
The Moyers are typical of Virginia farmers. They take extra steps to only use antibiotics when needed to keep them healthy. They work with veterinarians to assure that a strong system of checks and balances is in place.
The quality of food in Virginia is fantastic. It is the farmers do a tremendous job of ensuring quality. If they think there's something wrong with any of the cows, they specifically keep them out of the food chain. I know people personally that will say, I'm not selling that cow because there could be something wrong with her. And at the price of cattle, he could be burying $1,000. But they are so concerned about their reputation and producing a quality product that they are willing to bury a $1,000 bill.
My number one goal is to not have to use antibiotics. I try to manage the cows to keep them healthy, because a healthy cow is a happy cow. Just like if you're healthy, you're happy. If you're sick, you aren't happy. But if one does get sick, I try to figure out what exactly is wrong with her, catch her as soon as possible. With the milking cows, it's extremely easy to tell if they're sick, because as soon as they're sick, they aren't eating, and as soon as they aren't eating, they aren't giving us much milk. And I can keep track of how much milk they give every single milking.
If he needs to, Jeremy will call his veterinarian and they will work together to decide which medicine is needed. If antibiotics are used, the cow is separated from the herd and given the medicine for the set number of days written on the label. The milk is also dumped down the drain for the number of days recommended. There are also mandatory withdrawal days for an animal on antibiotics before it can go to the packing house, assuring our meat supply is safe.
She's in a separate lot, milk separate after all the other cows. And then at the end of that withdrawal period, you still test the milk on the farm before you ever take a chance of putting that milk in with the rest of the antibiotic-free milk from all the other cows.
The truth of the matter is, the milk and the beef you buy at the grocery store is purer probably than you could buy anywhere else. The milk that leaves a commercial dairy that you buy at the grocery store today has been tested and retested for antibiotics and hormones and stuff. And these guys go out of their way to see to it that it is free of antibiotics.
In addition to being the right thing to do, there are penalties for letting antibiotics get into the food supply. If contaminated milk gets into the bulk tank or the dairy plant, all of it would have to be dumped, and the source farmer would have to pay for everyone's losses as well as his own.
We want to have the top-notch, best quality product we can have, just like any other business. And also, I eat the same food that everybody else eats. I go to the same grocery store everybody else goes to, and I want the same quality food. I mean, I want the best food there is too.
With all the extra care and steps on using antibiotics on the farm, Moyer and his fellow farmers feel comfortable in saying consumers can feel safe eating food from the grocery store. From Amelia County, this is Dave Miller reporting.
In addition to 15 dairy farms, cattle, poultry, and forage crops are the top commodities on the 407 farms in Amelia County. Farming is important to this Central Virginia locality just southwest of the state capital. Corn, wheat, and soybeans are other crops harvested here, and hogs and sheep are also important to some farmers. Poultry is big business with more than 12 million broiler chickens on 26 farms. Hay and other forage crops cover more than 9,000 acres of land. There are also 8 tobacco farms. Altogether, agriculture contributes $3.7 million to the economy of Amelia County, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to answer a question many of you might have had. Why do some of my flowering shrubs die? Stay with us.
We're Vanderhyde Dairy Incorporated. Me and my parents and my 2 other brothers own the farm.
We farm about 2,000 acres. We currently milk about 1,100 cows 3 times a day. Total animals on the farm are about 2,500.
We do a lot of tours here, and we constantly try to educate as much as we can about what we do. I would like the consumer to know how much care goes into the production of each gallon of milk. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to ensure the quality of that milk, to ensure that the animals are treated well. I'd rather do this than anything else. I don't even like going on vacation, because why go on vacation when you're already doing something you love? I'm Roy Vanderhyde, a first-generation dairy farmer from Virginia, and I'm dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, and my land.
It's summertime, but some gardeners are still dealing with the ravages of winter in their landscape. As Mark Viette reports, there's a reason why some shrubs don't survive in the garden.
My favorite flowering shrub, the butterfly bush, is great to put all over your garden. But on those cold winters, we've noticed many of them die back, or in some cases completely die and do not show any new growth. Couple things to remember: do not prune butterfly bushes in the fall. Ideal time to prune them is in April. Warmer areas, early April. Colder areas like the Blue Ridge Mountains, maybe mid-April. But I did learn something. My favorite way of pruning butterfly bushes is to prune them right to the ground, 1 to 2 inches from the ground. My dad, on the other hand, pruned them 24 inches above the ground. I'm going to show you in a minute ones that were pruned to the ground, but you can look at this one here. It is dead. And if you look close at the base, you see a lot of old stubby growth, stems 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and no new growth. This we have to replace. Let me show you one that I pruned and how well it's come back in the garden. You may not see the damage on butterfly bushes till May, June, maybe the beginning of July. But again, always keep in mind, you do want to trim them back if you can sometime during the month of April. Could be as late as May if need be. And what we would do is we would come in and remove any parts that are dead, like this, which have been pruned. Usually I recommend a really good heavy-duty loppers. But this is a butterfly shrub that is coming back, and if you look, it has been cut quite low to the ground. Try to cut it as low to the ground that is safe for you using any kind of tools, and you will find that there's a lot of basal growth, a lot of growth in the ground that comes up every year, where a lot of the growth that's above the ground can freeze and be injured during those cold winter months. Crepe myrtle can be as short as 18 inches or 50 feet plus. This is one of my favorites. This one is called Sioux. And as you can see, it gets about 25 to 30 feet. You can also choose the hardier varieties like Sioux. This one has not burned back with cold winter temperatures as of yet. Then you can also have some crepe myrtles like this one, which only get 4 or 5 feet tall. And with this type of crepe myrtle, you prune them to the ground every 3 or 4 years, maybe anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. Now let me show you a crepe myrtle that had lots of winter damage. Now this crepe myrtle got blasted with the winter temperatures. So it does pay to look for the super hardy types that you can buy. And in this case, sometime in May, end of May, it's usually when you can determine if they're alive or dead. Sometimes we'll take a little knife and scratch the bark just to check to see if there's any green on each bark. But really, by this time, you can see some growth coming out of the base. My recommendation is to prune this crepe myrtle low to the ground, from 3 inches to maybe 6 inches above the ground, and now you can get ready for your workout. You could use all these old branches in your compost pile, and really what you're trying to do is prune back to new growth. And I would possibly come in and prune these maybe half again farther to the ground. And you can see here all the nice new growth that you've got. So if you get those hard winters, just get out there, prune the dead out, and then you can enjoy your plants for a couple years till we get those hard, cold winters again. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
We have a crowd-pleasing recipe headed your way for beef brisket. It's next on Real Virginia.
The State Fair is bringing you the best of Virginia. My job is picking it up. Know any driving tunes? They've been in the bathroom, right? Hello, ladies.
Hello.
No fight songs. This could be a challenge.
Learn more at statefairva.org.
Roll down the window.
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Beef is always popular during summer grilling season, and Miss America 2010 Caressa Jackson brings us a recipe for barbecued beef brisket in the heart of the home.
Hi, this is Caressa Jackson and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today we'll be cooking from the kitchen at Meadow Hall at the Meadow Event Park. Today we're going to be making a brown sugar beef brisket. Beef is an important commodity in the state of Virginia and can be found all over year round. So today we're going to work with this brisket, but before we do, we're going to make our brown sugar sauce. All right, today we're going to start with half a cup of packed brown sugar. Empty it into a bowl. We will add 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Hate that word, Worcestershire. Say it 3 times fast. 1 tablespoon of mustard. 4 cloves of garlic minced. And then here we have 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons of ground pepper if you want to use it, but I'm using peppercorns today. And then we have a little bit of salt and then 1 teaspoon of cumin. We're going to mix it all up to create a paste. And this paste can be used as a marinade, so if you want to put your brisket in it for about 24 hours or the night before you can, or you can cook it fresh like we're going to do today. So once the paste is complete, you just want to put it to the side. And I have cut here 2 long pieces of aluminum foil. And we're going to use this to make a tent on a baking rack. You can use a cookie sheet, you can use a regular roaster pan. And we want to lay it out in a T-crossed shape. We'll then lay our brisket onto it, and we're gonna cut with the grain of the meat. So as you'll see, it goes like this, and so we're just gonna cut a few slices. And this is just so that the marinade can soak into the meat while it's cooking. Then come over and grab your paste. Depending on the time of year, you can add many things to this, like lemon slices, orange peels. In my family, a lot of times we add pineapples if we can find some fresh pineapples. That just adds a little bit of kick to the brown sugar taste, and it offsets the peppercorns and the chili powder. So you have a sweet and tangy taste. And like I said, if you were not making this today, we're gonna go ahead and make the tint, and you could just put that in your refrigerator and let it chill. So we're gonna take our two sides, and we don't want it to be too close to the meat. You should be able to put your arm through it. And you're gonna fold it down, almost like you're making a paper airplane, and still leave a pocket. And then you will take your back side, and you wanna add it almost like you're building a little fort tint. Fold your sides up, do the same thing. This will allow enough air to circulate through as it cooks, and you're going to poke 2 holes on each side for air ventilation. So you can use that same knife. We'll pop this in the oven at 325 degrees. You want to cook it for 1 hour per every pound. So this is a 4-pound brisket, so we will cook this for about 4 hours. All right, time has elapsed. It smells so good. When my dad used to make brisket, he would take it out, he would mince it, serve it with some barbecue sauce on top of sandwiches. So there's many things that you can do. See how hot, a little hot. All right. We're gonna move this over to the cutting board. I'm cutting about 1/4-inch slices, and this can be served as an entree by itself. Like I said, you can mince it up, make barbecue sandwiches out of it, whatever you want to do. You can serve it as a regular brisket sandwich. It'll look great with some onions and a little bit of mayonnaise. It's really good. So there you have it, brown sugar marinated beef brisket. I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home. Come and get it.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
Beef for the grill comes in all sorts of cuts at your local grocer or butcher. Along with a nice red color to indicate freshness, also look for fat around the edges that should be white to ivory in color and firm to the touch. Fat around the meat adds flavor and protects the meat from becoming dry during cooking. Fat also is a factor in the grading of beef, specifically the marbling, which gives it its rich flavor. Beef is the second largest farm commodity in Virginia, and more than 97% of Virginia's beef operations are family-owned businesses.
I wish I was in school. If only I had a math test today. Or a book report to give. I wish I was in school. I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I'll do extra homework. I'll skip recess. I wish I was in school. I wish I was in school. I I really wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help. Together, we're feeding America.
Buying local foods has become a very important trend, not only for fresh food in your grocery store, but also at local restaurants. We traveled to Southwest Virginia to a restaurant that is making the connection to their local roots.
To say that buying food directly from farmers and artisanal producers is a hot trend is an understatement. The number of farmers markets across the U.S. has exploded in recent years, nearly tripling since 2000, with almost a 10% increase from 2011 to 2012 alone. Many restaurants and their chefs are reverting back to their area's farms to gather the freshest ingredients. Places like Local Roots, a farm-to-table restaurant in Roanoke.
Everything we serve here, we get from farmers in the area. We have our own garden. We are seasonal in that you're not going to get fresh strawberries here in January. You might get a strawberry sauce we've made from canning or freezing strawberries. We can and freeze a lot of tomatoes, which we use for different sauces. But in January, you're not going to get a slice of tomato on your hamburger.
For the past 4 years, Local Roots has offered its customers local fare. Seasonal menus based on what is available at peak harvest are offered at more and more places, connecting how we eat with what is locally available. This emerging trend is taking hold in big cities and small towns across America, taking dining out back to each region's unique flavor.
We love having the personal relationship with the farmers. We have a farmer that's raising particular chickens for us. We have another farmer who's raising mushrooms and some other herbs for us. So it's endless how important it is to be supporting the local people. It's a win-win for everybody.
Food that has to travel to your plate does not contain the same nutrients as fresh vegetables grown closer to home. To keep food from deteriorating during transit time, some produce must be picked long before it would ever be considered ripe. In the U.S., the average grocery store's produce travels nearly 1,500 miles between the farm where it was grown to your refrigerator. In fact, 39% of fruits and 12% of vegetables are imported from other countries. Finding a farm-to-table restaurant that serves fresh, locally produced foods can also lead to adventures for the epicurious diner.
Some people come in with a friend and they don't really know what this restaurant's going to be and if they're going to like it. So this has happened several times over this past winter. Our soup was rutabaga soup. And a lot of people said, well, what in the HEQQ is rutabaga soup? So I said, well, here, let me bring you a sample. And then they try it. It's like, wow, I like it. Where can I get rutabaga? Tell me more about it. So there's that educational thing. If they'll just taste the food, they will like it.
Elliott suggests her customers look for other local eateries specializing in local sourced foods when traveling. An extensive growing list of farm-to-table dining in Virginia is available at virginia.org/farm-to-table online.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.